Me uru kai ka te he pepeha te re nā ngai tūhoi. Tā rātau kōrero i te rāwā, ka wārama hia mai e nā korau o tūhoi ka hoa tu ka hepi. Nā rātau hoa tu ka hepi. Nā koenei he pepeha ma te rōpu. Me uru kai ka te. Ko te kahika te hoki he rākau tūke ki te repo. Nā engari kaore e mātatoru te tū kai te repo ke hoki. Nā Pākiaka. Nō reira, ka wakarite e tāne, me whiri nā paiaka, pakari ana te tū. Tōro tika ana. E ai ki te kōrero nei, me uru kahika te. Te rā pēr, kai te repo tātou e te iwi.
Our tupuna, our ancestors negotiated a treaty. In its purest sense, our ancestors, ourselves, we have our mana to represent our interest, and we have our tauiwi, Pākehas, that represent the other treaty partner, and it's a process where the two can negotiate and work these things through. To be able to share in the decision making, need to participate in that process, in that democratic process, to influence, be involved with government through our representatives, to access effectively scarce resources, and where those resources may be invested in New Zealand in its services, whether it be health, education, employment, economic development, and that is at the heart of why FOMA exists, the purpose of engaging with government to ensure that Māori people, Māori businesses get their access and entitlement to resources to develop themselves. From basically their land being taken by the government of the day in the 1840s, managed by Crown Commissioners, public trustee, native trustee, Māori trustee, and our generation's journey began, as I said before, through the Royal Commission of Inquiry of Māori Reserve lands in 1973-74. I started there in that process, and then it was interesting because the first meeting of our entities who came out of the Royal Commission, the Wellington Tents, Palmerston North Reserves, Mawhera Incorporation, Pukeru Orowhatu Trust from Rotorua, Parani ki Waitotara from Taranaki, and Wakatu Incorporation. There's a number of other smaller ones, but we were the big drivers of the reform, and those lands and assets have been managed by these trustees over 140, 50 years.
And so all these government agencies were lobbying the Māori trustee to convert the term lease, which was falling due after 100 years, into perpetual lease. And the Māori trustee was saying, no, that's not good enough. And he was defending the position of the owners very properly, but not telling the owners anything. And we got wind of this, and we were able to, by the agency of one of our members, borrow the total file from the Central General Post Office for the night, and we took it to the lawyer's office where one of our other members was working as a law clerk. We made 4 copies, and the following morning one of those copies appeared on the desk of the Minister of Māori Affairs, and that was our own little Watergate.
One of the biggest opportunities was the organisation of Maori authorities who brought in the reform of the Maori leased lands. You know, that was instigated through FOMA, but through the organisation of Maori authorities, or OMA. And that was a very positive step in breaking a lot of those inadequate leases, I think we called them, you know, the old $10 a year trick, which was shocking for commercial leases.
That's where what FOMA was put together to do, is to be the heart, the beating heart of what we wanted to achieve. Because most of us, at the time we started, most of us Maoris in New Zealand didn't have the links to the ministers or parliament or anything like that.
Like most of the membership of FOMA, we learned at the knees of our fathers and our mothers about the issues facing us as a whole, and the difficulties that we needed to overcome and we needed to learn about, and how we could turn the disadvantages under which we were placed and the total lack of ability to influence decision making meant we had to learn to move adroitly. I think we've done that. We realised very early on the legacy that the forebears of FOMA, and that's those original founding fathers, was very important, and that we had to be involved in that, although our issues, were different.
When Sir Hepi first came across the idea of establishing FOMA alongside of Waka Virko, Alec Wilson and others, Sir Hepi came to see my father and talked about the concept of a national organisation that would represent Māori authorities and iwi authorities with the aim of focusing on a single kaupapa, which is about what's good for our people. And really that's what FOMA is about. FOMA is about bringing the very best out of Māori authorities and iwi authorities.
Like 30-something years old, I was sent to Germany, which was totally foreign to me, to be invited to an Indigenous conference. And at this conference, there was only 9 of us that were invited there, and it was the beginning of a world that I thought I really enjoyed, being in Māori governance. It was absolutely an eye-opener going that far.
Our key agricultural industries kind of remain the same, whether it's forests, whether it's farming, whether it's fisheries. I guess what has changed is our perception of our place in that market, and I guess a sharper focus on exactly where that product ends. So now, instead of being farmers, we're actually food creators, safe food creators. That puts a different spin. So although the baseline of our engagement in our whenua, in our resources, is still the same, it's how it's done.
For our FOMA members to be successful, we need to have diversity of thinking, be that at our table, our governing tables, be that in our senior management teams, and also in all parts of our business. So I'm really excited to see more rangatahi working alongside kaumātua. I'm happy to see wahine working with tāne and having that range of perspectives that make our decisions better.
As a rangatahi, I know that although my shoulders are clear right now, in 20 years it will be on me and my whanaunga and our generation. So my expectation is that our current leadership think about that and not just worry about what are our current struggles, but how not only us people, but how the land will react in the next 20, 50, 100 years, and to be prepared so it is a little bit easier for my generation to take over the roles.
In my view, is in a process of reinventing all the time to accommodate this new wave of knowledge and expertise that's now entering this space. So, looking to the next 30 years, well, my daughter, who is, and others like her, who are the new millennials, will have to take over that space in a world where technology is moving really fast and creating such a different environment to the environment I experienced in the last 30 or so years.
The place of FOMA in my development has been really important for connecting me to the established ways and, the other generations who are in. We all want the same outcome for benefits for our people. And whilst we might have different ways and different platforms of doing it and achieving that, knowing where we've been, going to FOMA events and being a part of FOMA has been a really important part of that. Because you've got like my koro and my dad, their age groups, 3 generations across the organisation.
Now we know where we've come from, we know the reason why FOMA was formed and what their function is in today's society. I think they've got a bigger role to play moving forward.
but that's going to take some succession planning as well.
So what's so important about Tātipini O'Regan and his mahi with Ngaitau is that they've laid the foundation for us to be successful business owners in this age. The mahi that they've put together has created initiatives and things like Pona Pāki, which is a business accelerator that we've gone through the pipeline of developing our business through there as well.
We do awhi in our work, we awhi our customers, and it's nice to know that people like FOMA are awhiing us.
Yeah.
And I guess that's, that we have some backup where people care about what we're doing and hopefully helping us.
Things are happening that we dreamt of when we did FOMA, but it's now becoming a reality.
We can take control of our own navigation. We can take control of our own future. We can decide how we're going to participate in the larger society, how we're going to relate to each other, and to the wider society, and to the New Zealand state. And I think we've got to need quite a lot of upskilling and a lot of serious thinking by our leadership.
Our Māori Authority tax reform was a 7-year program. And we ran the strategy, we got the partners, we invested in the advice, and we got a brilliant outcome, which they're all benefiting from today.
There are big changes afoot across the world. We're also going to be impacted by the new colonisation of New Zealand, with the advent of more people entering New Zealand and leaving. That puts a whole strain on resources, and it totally, for us, impacts on us because we're in cities.
And so if Māori aren't in those conversations, and FOMA always has been, then it's highly likely that we are forgotten, with a direct impact on the way that we do business. Businesses are required to comply to legislation, to policy, and to regulation, and so our involvement there is critically important. It's an exciting time to be Māori right now. For the first time in our history, we have been recognised for our contributions socially, culturally, environmentally, economically, and FOMA has a big part to play in the promotion of the Māori economy and the promotion of Māori leadership in New Zealand and indeed the world.